All right, what's going on, guys? We're doing an arm and shoulder workout today, starting out with some rear delts, starting here before getting into the shoulder pressing movement. Um, it's often a good idea to start your workout with a pulling exercise. Like, let's say if you're doing chest and back, consider starting your workout with a back exercise. If you're doing legs, consider starting with a hamstring exercise before your quads. This, a couple reasons for this. So you're warming up the general area that you're going to work. You're warming up the joint, and you're doing that without doing the actual movement yet. Even though you are going to warm up that movement pattern as well, it just seems to make stuff feel better if you start with the pulling exercise, and that's probably has a lot to do with kind of recentering or realigning the joints. Like we're muscles in the front are often tight, especially if we're thinking like shoulders and chest. Those are usually tight on people, and we're typically going to be more like hunched throughout the day. We're kind of getting pulled forward. The shoulder is getting pushed forward into the socket a little bit, uh, typically. So if we start with a pulling exercise, we can kind of get that back into a more normal position, and and that it just seems to make your pressing movements, your squats, all that stuff feel a lot better. So that's why we started with that, and I was just kind of experimenting with a new exercise, doing the uh, rear delt flies on the incline. So now we're going to be going back and forth between uh, shoulder presses and biceps. So we did these in an alternating set fashion. So taking taking rest in between, not like bouncing, haphazardly or in a rush between both of them. But uh, if you're gonna take your sets like to failure or really close to it, you're gonna need some time to recover. So it's instead of just sitting here for a few minutes in between, even between curls, it might need 3 minutes, uh, give or take. It's just easy to go do the other exercise. Obviously, it depends on where you're working out, how busy the gym is. You can see that this gym is not busy because I'm going pretty late at night. Um, so so yeah, able to kind of bounce back and forth between stuff. Um, so yeah, I did the one plate on the first set and really just went higher reps than uh, I kind of wanted to, but you know, just to hit that point of exhaustion, that's where I had to go. So decided to go up in weight to get the reps down into the range that I was aiming for. Obviously, we're a little fatigued from the first set already, but this is still pretty good. And back to curls. So we're doing a rope hammer curl. This I just love this. Uh, I basically have never had any joint issues with this, and honestly, part of that is going to be it's easy to, like, if you're doing like a barbell curl, it's easy to just kind of start throwing weight around and using momentum and not controlling it as much. Obviously, you shouldn't do it that way. You don't have to. Uh, and then, like, with a barbell, with a straight bar, you have kind of a fixed wrist position. It can be tough on the joints, especially if you're not controlling it that well. But I find, for me, I just naturally, like, I dissociate with, I don't care how much weight I'm rope hammer curling, right? So then I can actually focus on controlling it the whole time, on the way up and the way down. So I think a lot of it has to do with that, but also you're in this neutral wrist position, and you actually have a lot of freedom in where you can position the rope exactly. So long story short, they've always felt really good on my joints. So basically, never had any issues, even doing multiple sets to failure every week for 6 months straight with that exercise and not having issues. So uh, definitely recommend this, especially if you've had issues, with barbell curls, even dumbbell curls or something like that, where it just, you know, beats up your elbows and wrists maybe, and not getting as much bicep as you would like. Obviously, this is working in that hammer position. You're getting, forearms and brachialis as well. And then we go into skull crushers. Now I didn't record my warm-up set. I did 1 or 2 warm-up sets. Doing the presses first, you do get a bit of your triceps and your elbows are warmed up, lubricated a bit. But still, especially with a skull crusher, I would recommend warming up. And really, you're trying to find kind of the sweet spot, you're trying to find a smooth position where it just feels like you're working your triceps and you're not like just beating the crap out of your elbows. There's a lot of individual variance with that, a lot of personal preference. So you kind of just have to mess around with it to find out. In between that, we're doing concentration curls. This is a great superset because you can do it, literally just sitting in the same spot. So even in a busy gym, even at like rush hour, as long as you can get a pair of dumbbells, you can even do dumbbell skull crushers. Then you're good to go here. So, interesting thing about concentration curls, because of this position we're in, they get really tough at the top, and they, but they're pretty easy at the bottom. So what you're gonna find is you might be able to get as you get fatigued, you might start getting 80% of the way up, and then 3/4, and then 2/3. Keep going, even if you're not getting, all the way up, because there's still a lot of tension. See right there, just, fighting it. I'm still trying to lift it as hard as I can. So there's a lot of tension there for a couple seconds. So don't stop early just because you're not getting, the 100% of the range of motion. So yeah, with these skull crushers, you can see I'm going to above the brim of my hat, right to my forehead. So you can touch at different points. You can touch, forehead, right on your nose, chin level. You can go behind the head, and that will also, kind of dictate where your elbows are. So your upper arm angle, and even your grip width. And if you're going, thumbs wrapped around or thumbless, all of these things are things you can tweak to make it feel as good as possible, make it feel as smooth as possible. And back to concentration curls here. Again, see, I'm not going to get all the way up, but I'm still fighting. There's a lot of muscle growth stimulus. And the point of the set, the point of those first reps, the easier ones, is to get to the harder ones where, because you're fatigued, the amount of force you can produce is lower, so the weight is going to move more slowly. So you're going to be spending more time under this, 100% tension where you're pushing as hard as you can, and that's where the magic happens. So, why stop before that? And on a concentration curl, once you get acclimated and you get your technique locked in, which isn't too tough on that, keep everything under control, you can go to failure every time. Now, Skull Crushers, as the name implies, you might not want to go to true failure where you can't get the weight up anymore. But as you've seen, and I think you'll see again on this set, again, don't go for this right away. But once you get pretty confident and comfortable with it, then you can take this to the point of no return. See, can't get it up, flip it forward, and you're safe. Okay, and I cut out the last set of concentration curls just because there wasn't much to add to that. So now we're into tricep pushdowns. Okay, so on these, you want to lock that elbow position in and look at the amount of elbow flexion there is. So you don't want to stop at 90 degrees. There's no reason stop at 90 degrees, you're missing out on a lot by not getting that stretch on the way up. And we're trying to isolate the triceps here, right? So try to keep the elbows locked in place, not swinging around, and then we're just moving at that joint. Don't try to turn it into like some kind of dip or chest press type thing. Okay, and then we're gonna go into lateral raises with dumbbells. So these are kind of like the concentration curls where it's easy at the bottom, really tough. It's toughest when you get to that, parallel with the floor, 90 degrees. So like concentration curls, these are another great exercise that, just because you're not getting that like super top end of range of motion, you can still keep going. Which, to be fair, I don't really do here. I do that one like partial and that's it, but we'll see on the subsequent sets. And you could do the same thing on push downs too. You could do, once you can't get all the way down, you could do some partials. I prefer, if I'm going to extend a set like that, then I'll just go until I get that last rep grinder or I can't finish it. Then take a breather for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then jump back in with the same weight and get a few more reps. If you really went to failure on the first one, then you shouldn't get a ton of reps on that little mini set after that. And you can repeat that. You can do that 2 to 3 times for a really time effective, muscle growth stimulus. Okay, different angle on the laterals. And on this set, I do a few more partial reps, which you'll see. So yeah, we're not getting all the way to the top now, but that doesn't mean the muscle is like 100% done, right? There's still more work that it can do. And when you're logging this kind of stuff, just count those, really full range of motion reps. You don't need to really track those like partials. You're already in the money. You're at the point where the magic happens. So you're already there. Just keep going. Get more out of it, especially on a really safe exercise that's not incredibly fatiguing, like a lateral raise, as opposed to like don't do that on like a barbell squat. And this is wrapping up the workout here. So yeah, 6 sets on biceps, 6 on triceps, and about 7 on shoulders total. Even taking, adequate rest in between sets and doing warm-ups, all this, you can get this done in under an hour. So I definitely recommend doing these kind of alternating sets, supersets on arm and shoulder day, because they're not, the exercises aren't huge oxygen demanding for the most part. So that won't be a limiting factor. Whereas it could be on, if you're trying to superset big chest and back movements or 2 leg movements, you might be impacting your performance on the exercises too much to where you're better off actually just doing one at a time, or just making sure that you're resting a lot in between.